We have just come off of one of the most unpredictable rounds of the AFL I have ever witnessed. Now, there's always going to be a time where we call the AFL unpredictable, but some of the things that happened were just crazy. And that was only a few days ago that round ended, and already we're going into a new one. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is round 3, AFL predictions. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's Aiden Sports Show. Welcome back to another video, another AFL video. This is going to be my AFL round 3 predictions. So if you didn't catch the round 2 predictions, basically I go through every matchup in round 3. I predict the team that I think will win, and then in the results video we will add them all up and see the record that I get with how many I got right and how many I got wrong. So without further ado, please like and subscribe to the Aiden Sports Show YouTube channel. The goal is 60 subscribers. Help me get to this as quickly as possible, and let's see. For more AFL content, stay on this channel. You will get a round prediction every round, and isn't that the beauty of it? We get to predict together. So without further ado, let's get into the very first game, which is Richmond and Hawthorn. It's funny how Richmond is always the first game of these rounds. Unless I'm missing something, that's the way that it is. Now, I don't think this game is going to be particularly hard to pick. I'm obviously going to pick Richmond as the winner. Now, with Richmond, they've come to a very close draw against Collingwood, one of the better teams in the AFL, but they also had a win against Carlton. Now, I'm not going to say that this game is going to be a domination by Richmond, because I honestly don't believe that, but I believe Hawthorn are struggling, and last game against Geelong they showed that they can definitely concede a lead. They can have mixed performances. They can have a good performance in the first half, but in the second half they're going to end up ruining it. So they need to prove to me that they can play for all 4 quarters, and if they could do that, then I can see them having a close game with Richmond. But I still think either way Richmond are going to take this out. I think they need to show their dominance. They've been slacking a little bit. Carlton came close to beating them, and also Richmond conceded a lead with Carlton. Well, they didn't concede it, but they let Carlton come back. And then same thing with Collingwood. They got the lead, lost early, but then they came back. So they need to show some dominance, and they need to play for all 4 quarters, both teams. So I'm just going to pick the better of the teams that I believe, which is Richmond. Hopefully I'm proven right. Honestly, if I want Hawthorn to win, but I'm going to pick Richmond. Next up is Western Bulldogs and the GWS Giants. Now, these two teams have had shockers of round 2, both of them losing to North Melbourne and St Kilda separately. And to be honest, this is a redemption game for the Western Bulldogs. If they don't win this game, or they don't prove that they've got something that teams would want in their teams, if they're going to prove that they're not lazy, that they're hardworking, that they can kick goals and they can defend, then this is the game to do it. And it's against competition like this they're going to do it. However, I'd be stupid of me not to go for the Giants here, because Western Bulldogs have shown none of the above. They've been very lazy, and to be honest, they're my most disappointing team so far to watch, which is terrible to say because I genuinely like the Western Bulldogs, but I can't go against the Giants here, so I'm going to pick the Giants to win. Bulldogs, look, this is the redemption game. I mentioned it in the results video, and I'm going to mention it again. You need to redeem yourself for these terrible 2 rounds that you've given to your fans, and pretty much all of Victoria, man. Like, I don't know if there's any team, any supporter out there that hates the Western Bulldogs. I genuinely don't think there is one. But in the meantime, you have to prove that you're a decent team. So hopefully you can do that. That's just the way it is. I think last year you guys beat GWS, so maybe there's an opportunity there. But based on the first 2 rounds, I cannot go for the Western Bulldogs. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen for me. Anyway, next up, North Melbourne versus Sydney. Now, this is not going to be in Sydney, I believe. This is going to be at Marvel Stadium. So, for me, this one is pretty straightforward. I told you guys last week I'm going to back North Melbourne in majority of the games because they've proven that they're a decent team. They're beating 2 quality teams. So I'm going to pick North Melbourne here. Very first time I'm picking North Melbourne on this channel. Hopefully North Melbourne fans are going to like that. And again, I think Sydney just don't have the quality to match up to teams. I feel like Sydney will probably be bottom 2 to be honest. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I feel like even Sydney fans kind of know they're in the rebuilding stage. Sydney's always known to be a good team, so taking a year or two off to get better is not going to be a big deal for them, because in the end they already know that they're going to be good. They have good talent. They're just trying to develop them, and unfortunately it's going to take a year off of being a very good team to do that, and I think that's fair enough for Sydney. So I think that they will end up losing this game, and we'll see. Maybe Sydney can prove me wrong. I'm going to back North Melbourne. If they played the way they played against the Giants, I feel like this game won't be close. But let's see how things go, man. Only time will tell. We've got a few days left until the Thursday, man, and that's when the first game kicks in. Very good stuff for another round. Next up, Collingwood and St Kilda. Alrighty. To be honest, I think this game's going to be very close, because based on the performances of both teams, Collingwood did not play very well in the second half. Defensively, they played well, but besides that, nothing really. And St Kilda played very well throughout the majority of the Bulldogs game. So I feel like these two teams can put on a show. But again, it's one of those situations, Collingwood's the better team, and at this instance, I'm going to pick the team that I think is better, which is Collingwood. Now, I'm not saying that St Kilda don't have a chance at all, because honestly, if they perform the way they performed last week, or I don't know if it was Bulldogs making them look good, or they are making Bulldogs look bad, but St Kilda played very well, so maybe they have that opportunity again against Collingwood. Now, Collingwood is a much better defensive team, so they're going to have to find different ways to score. They can't just walk in and score. They can't have 14 and 4, 14 goals and 4 behinds. It's just not going to happen against Collingwood. At least that's what I think. So, in the meantime, I'm going to back Collingwood here. Most rounds are probably going to back Collingwood, so that's just the way that I think, because they're just a good team. And I might not like Collingwood. I think, to be honest, I don't like Collingwood at all, but you can't go against a good team, especially when they're versing quality that is not as good. So that's the way that I see it, at least. Next up, Brisbane and West Coast. Wow, alrighty. I don't know how I'm going to judge this game, because West Coast lost to Gold Coast. I'm not sure if that's going to be a one-game wonder, or they're just going to come out sluggish because of everything that's happening to Perth teams these days. They're not allowed to play at their home, and they have to travel constantly. And I don't know the situation. It's going to be at the Gabba, so West Coast will have to travel. I don't know. I feel like this is going to be very, very close, but I'm going to pick West Coast. I have to pick West Coast. They are a good team, and I hope that they can retaliate from such a poor performance against Gold Coast. With Brisbane, I feel like being in Brisbane is going to be a big advantage. Of course, the home court advantage. I don't think many teams lost in the Gabba. Many teams lost in the Gabba when they're versing Brisbane. So I feel like maybe West Coast might be the little bit extra when it comes to the quality that can knock off Brisbane at home. But at the end of the day, Brisbane have a whole week or whatever, a few days to actually work within their confined area, within their actual home. So maybe that's the advantage. I'm not really sure, but hopefully West Coast can get into the groove of things and kick things off, because if they lose to Brisbane, then there's going to be serious trouble. They can't afford to slip up with games, especially if they're trying to get to the top edge of the ladder. They can't slip up. So I'm going to pick West Coast, and hopefully things will come together. That's all I can really say. Next up, Geelong versus Carlton. Wow. All right. Sorry, Carlton fans. I have to pick Geelong. Did you see how they played? And Carlton fans, you didn't play well against Melbourne, especially in the first 2 quarters, first quarter and a half. But then after that, you took things to another level. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the same thing against Geelong, because Geelong are a better side than Melbourne. And you're going to have to make sure you don't concede the lead so early. With Geelong, again, they're going to be a consistently good team for at least in the next few years, and they've already been a consistently good team for the past God knows how long, since probably like 2009. So yeah, they've always been a decently good team. So it's just one of those things where if you win, it's going to be very, very important. It's going to be a very strong message, Carlton fans. It's going to be a very strong message that you're going to be consistently a good team this year. But I feel like Geelong will have the edge, and I'm going to go with Geelong. Sorry, Carlton fans. I seriously support your team, honestly. Like, I'm a Melbourne fan, but I really like Carlton. So But I can't. How can I go against them, man? I can't be biased. I genuinely think Geelong's going to win, so that's who I go for. Next up, Gold Coast versus Adelaide, the two bottom of the table at the moment. All right. You have to look in retrospect with last round here. And last round, poor Adelaide, a very good team, got destroyed Adelaide. And Gold Coast versus a very good team in West Coast and won. And it's at Gold Coast's home. So in my mind, I'm picking Gold Coast to win this game. And I'm thinking that they're going to win it fairly comfortably as well. Very interesting. I didn't think I'd be picking Gold Coast. But after round 2, I think I'm going to pick Gold Coast here. Adelaide, they're just one of those teams. They're just not a good team. It's similar to Sydney. They have decent players, but they don't have a good team. So overall, it's good. It's a rebuilding stage for Adelaide and a rebuilding stage for Gold Coast, but I feel like Gold Coast will probably win this, especially at home. Adelaide players have to travel and stuff like that. It's just not good for them, and I don't think they have the quality to take over. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Adelaide comes back firing because they know that they're under pressure now and they have to win a game. We don't know. Maybe Gold Coast was just a temporary thing where they played good and then they're not going to play good again. I don't know, but I'm going to pick Gold Coast. I'm going against my brain. I'm going for my heart. And I think Gold Coast is going to win. So hopefully that will do. Next up, my beautiful Melbourne Demons versus the Essendon Bombers. Now, I would be a fool to pick Melbourne in this game. I'm sorry, but after that performance against Carlton, where we almost gave up a 43-point lead within a half, no, I'm sorry, I can't pick Melbourne. I'm hoping and I'm praying that it's just a one-game type of thing and Melbourne won't do this again. But Melbourne fans, as well as Melbourne players, already know the history of this club, and we are known to give up leads. We are known to make our fans look bad even when we support them. So I'm going to pick Essendon in this game. It's very sad that I'm going to go against my own team, but I'm trying not to be biased here, and I feel like Essendon are a better team than us at the moment because they've won their first 2 games. We've only won 1, but we barely won it as well. So I don't know. These 2 teams are very unpredictable. I feel like Melbourne can have a good game one game and then shocking the next. And I just don't know what to expect from Melbourne. I genuinely don't. I would love to beat Essendon, to be honest. I would absolutely love to beat Essendon. But in my heart, I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe they could prove me wrong. I would love it. I get so heated during Melbourne games that even when they do something right, I'm going to scream at them. That's just me, because I feel like they could do it better. I guess I'm a perfectionist in that kind of way. But still, if anybody thinks that Melbourne's going to win, I salute you. But I just don't. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I'm trying not to be biased. So, yeah. Sad times. Sad reacts. F in the chat. Anyway, the last game is Fremantle and Port Adelaide. This is going to be in Perth. So, who's going to win between Fremantle and Port Adelaide? I'm backing Port Adelaide. So, anybody that doesn't know, I predicted Port Adelaide multiple times that they're going to make the top 4. So, I feel like they're going to beat Fremantle. They're a very well-rounded, good team. And they deserve to get the recognition. A lot of people saying that Port Adelaide will barely struggle to make the 8. Come on. They've made the 8. Didn't they make the 8 last year? Come on. I don't know. But either way, I think they're going to make it this year. I genuinely do. And that's going to be the end of this round 3 predictions. A little bit shorter than the last one. I'm not sure why that is. I guess maybe I've just ran through a couple of teams and just said it's going to be easy for them. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aiden Sports Show YouTube channel. The goal was 60. Turn on notifications, share the video, share the playlist. And if you're looking for a round 3 results video where I basically go for every prediction team that I chose and see if they won or not, we get a win-or-loss record at the bottom of the screen. And hopefully you guys can share how many teams you predicted to get right. That's the goal. That's the game. Let's see how many you can get right. Anyway, have a wonderful and safe day. Take care.
Trying to step back and see the view from above, 'cause I know that nothing lasts forever. And I try to crack this iceberg open till it shatters through the ocean. I wanna make sure breeze.